Hello and welcome to my tutorial. Today I'm going to be giving a tutorial on GNU Cache. It's going to be a basic tutorial in which I will talk about the functionality of the GNU Cache. GNU Cache is a free accounting software distributed under GNU GPL, General Public License, and it is available for Windows, Mac, Linux, Solaris, and BSD. Now to download GNU Cache, you want to type in www.gnucache.org, and once you're on their website, you want to go on the left side and look for downloads. On the next screen, you're going to be prompted for your Windows operating system, and for mine I'm going to be selecting Microsoft Windows XP Vista 7 option, and this will take you to SourceForge website. So once you click on download and come on sourceforge.net, you want to run the file and wait for it to download. Once the installer has been downloaded, I'm going to launch the installer to start the setup program. So now we're going to set this up. You want to select the language. I am choosing English and hit OK. Now click Next to start your setup wizard, and you want to accept the license agreement. Hit Next. Now you have the option to select the folder where you want the GNU Cache to be installed. So you can select whichever folder. I'm selecting it to the standard folder and clicking on Next. On this screen, you can select the components you want to install. I'm selecting the full installation and click on Next. On this screen, you can select the folder in which Start Menu item will be created. The default is GNU Cache, and I'm going to leave it as is. So I'm not going to rename this and just leave it as GNU Cache and hit Next. Now on this screen, you can choose where to put the shortcut to launch GNU Cache. I'm selecting the desktop icon and the Start Menu link. Now click Next and click Install. So once the setup has been done, you just want to finish and exit your setup. So you should have an icon that looks like this on your desktop, and go ahead and click on that. When you launch GNU Cache for the first time, it prompts you to create a new file in which GNU Cache will create your account. Now GNU Cache can have multiple files. For example, you may want to keep your business files in one account and personal files in another. So I'm going to create a new set of accounts and hit OK. So this is our new account hierarchy setup, and we're going to click Forward. Now you're going to select the currency to be used for the account. I'm going to select mine for US dollars and click Forward. Now it gives you an option to select a purpose for creating the account. So for example, you could your purpose could be maintaining a simple checkbook, or it could be business account. So you can select your purpose, and GNU Cache will automatically create accounts needed for your purpose. You can have more than one purpose, in which case you can check all of your purposes. So you can have more than one purpose. My purpose is business, so I'm going to select business account and click Forward. So on the next screen, you can change the account names. So you can go in here, double click, and it will let you edit and rename the account. And you can also input their opening balances. So on the right hand side, you double click and it'll give you the option to input the amount. So I would say I have $5,000 in my savings account. So I'm going to scroll down under my assets and look for savings, and double click and input $5,000. And I have $10,000 in my checking, so same thing, input $10,000 in my checking account, and we click forward. Now we click apply to create the account, and Screencast prompts you to save the file. So once we hit apply, this window will pop up, and I'm going to save mine as business account, save as. So you can always go back and add more accounts to your current setup as well. Now this brings us to the main GNU Cache window, which is the accounts tree window. So as you can see, there are 5 different categories we have here. We have assets, equity, expenses, income, and liabilities. I will expand the assets account tree. And as you can see, we have accounts receivable, in which you can maintain your payments that you need to collect for the goods you sold. Then we have another subgroup called current assets, under which we have the checking account, petty cash, and savings account. So as you can see, the opening balances are already there. $5,000 in my savings and 10. So right under current assets, I have in my checking $10,000. Now if we extend the equity accounts group, you can see that the total of checking and savings account opening balances has been credited into the opening balances account. Now, equity accounts, they represent the money which has been invested by the owners of the business, as compared with liabilities, which is money borrowed from others for the business. Now, all of the money collected from equity and liabilities is used to buy our assets, which means that sum of equity and liability would always be equal to assets. And this is also called the basic accounting equation. Now you can also double click any of these accounts. So let's say, for instance, I double click checking account, and you can see the transaction done on this particular account leading to the current balance. So the transfer type was equity opening balances, and the deposit was $10,000. Now this window that opens up, this is called the account registered window, and you can add more transactions from the account registered window, which we will talk about shortly. So to actually add another transaction from the account registered window, you can do so here, but there's a more convenient way to transfer, and we will talk about that shortly. Now let's close this for now and come back to our main screen. Now in accounting, any money that comes into account has to come from another account. So that means every debit in an account leads to credit in another account. So assets, equity, and liabilities are called balance sheet accounts. And these are real accounts which represent the physical things like factory, equipment, cash, loans, etc. Now income and expenses, these two accounts are nominal accounts, and they're used to make changes to balance sheet accounts. Let's now look at transfer. And for this, we need to go to Actions menu and go to Transfer. The Transfer Fund windows will pop up, and in the amount field, let's say I enter $15,000 for the goods sold today, and I select the current date of transfer. Now number is optional, and it is just the number to identify your transaction. I'm going to leave it blank. In the description field, you can type a description of the transaction. I'm typing sales of computer hardware. Now we'll select the account from which to transfer the funds. This money is generating from sales, so expand the income accounts tree and select sales. So I'm going to go to income and look for sales. And on the right hand side, I can select which accounts to transfer the money into. Now this sale is of $15,000 was credit. It was on credit, so I select accounts receivable, which would be under assets, and click OK. So there are some tools available in GNU Cash which you can use in your day-to-day accounting practices. Let's see a couple of them. Go to Tools menu and click on General Ledger. Now, this shows you a list of all the transactions done on the account. So at the top of the level, the transactions in green, and under them it shows the accounts affected by them. Now you can close the General Ledger and going back to the Tools menu and click on Financial Calculator. You can use this financial calculator to pretty much calculate time value of money. So it is a really handy tool. We'll close it for now. GNU Cash also allows you to generate financial reports, and all the report types are available in the Report menu. So let's go to Assets and Liabilities under Reports and select Balance Sheet. So right there, Balance Sheet. Now this is a year-end report which shows the current balances in the real accounts. That is the assets, the liabilities, and the equity account. Now as you can see, the total assets ending balance is equal to your total liability and your total equity ending balance. Now close it. So we're going to close the balance sheet and let's look at General Journal Report, which is going to be under Reports, Assets and Liabilities, and you go to General Journal Report. So this is similar to the General Ledger screen that we saw some time back. General Journal, it shows the same information, but it is in a report view, which you can print. So you have the option to print this. Let's close this. So let's now look at some of the income and expense reports. So let's select the income statement. Now this report shows ending balances in all the income and expense accounts. Incomes are listed right here at the top of the report, and at the very end we have the expenses listed. And if you go all the way at the end of the report, it shows the net of income and expenses, which is your net income. So we have net income for the period listed here at the very end of income statement report. Let's close this. Let's now go back to reports and income and expense and click on cash flow. Now the statement of cash flow, this report pretty much shows you the ending cash balance at the end of the report. So the cash flow in most cases is different from net income because of the introduction of non-cash items such as depreciation, amortization, and accounts payable. Let's close this and let's go back to the reports and let's look at the last report we're going to talk about, which is equity, income and expenses, and equity statement. This report shows the changes in owner's equity account over the accounting period. So this is equity statement for a period covering for the whole year. So we started off with a capital of $0, and with our net income, investments, and withdrawals, we are left out by end of the year with this sum. Let's close this. And that was the basic tutorial for GNU Cash. I hope these reports and this full software will be handy to you. Thank you so much for watching.